Hey everybody, my name is Isaac, and I'm so glad to be here for Lent Day 14, in which we are talking about bread. And this is found in Matthew 6:11, which it says, "Give us this day our daily bread." Now this is a very well-quoted verse from the Lord's Prayer, "Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us all our trespasses," and so on and so on. And this part of the passage evokes an image of God providing for his people in Exodus 16. Now, this was right after God had led the Israelites out of Egypt, and Moses was leading the people of Israel to the Promised Land. So they were going through the wilderness, and eventually they reached a point where the Israelites were starting to complain and starting to go to Moses and say that, "Why did you take us out of Egypt? We would have rather have been in slavery there than have been starving out in the wilderness like this." They're not seeing God's plan and that God is leading them to the Promised Land, the land of milk and honey. And so Moses goes to God and says, "What do I do? The people are complaining." And God says in Exodus 16:12, "I have heard the grumbling of the people of Israel. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. Then you shall know that I am the Lord your God." So God hears the complaining and the grumbling of the people of Israel, and he says to Moses that he's going to provide, and he tells him exactly how he's going to do it. He tells them that he's going to provide for them bread in the morning, and that they can all gather as much as they can eat, and that he will provide quail in the evenings. And so Moses and Aaron go to the people and tell them just that. They tell them to gather exactly as much as you can eat, and that God will provide every day, and not to gather any more, not to gather any less, but that whatever you gather will be what you will need from God. So the people go out and they gather, and lo and behold, in the morning, God provided exactly as much as every person needed. Now, some of the people actually went out and gathered more, not trusting that God would provide for them the next day. They thought, well, we have all this bread here now, I might as well gather some more so that I'll have it in safekeeping for tomorrow. And what ended up happening was that the bread that they kept left over was started to stink, and it said that it had worms in it, and it was super gross. So the people see that the Lord's way of providing for them, that he is faithful and that he fulfills all of his promises towards them. Now, this passage is in one way very comforting to know that the Lord promises that he will provide, but it is also a challenge to trust him to provide in the way that he does. I often want things to be laid out my way, or to ask God to do things exactly how I want it to be. But from this passage and from many other places in Scripture, we see that God fulfills his promises, and he fulfills them in the way that is in accordance to his will. So that is a real comfort and a real challenge for us this day and every day. So thank you so much for joining me, and blessings in your season of Lent.